care of Thomas. I'll be back by Christmas.
All new Saturday, November 19th. Three brothers discover a baby. What can possibly go wrong?
No hands.
It's just a baby.
Just a baby.
I think he needs a little diaper change.
We may have to evacuate the store.
It's the most wonderful delivery of the season.
This is shaping up to be an unexpected Christmas.
Three wise men and a baby. All new Saturday, November 19th at 8. Part of Countdown to Christmas. Only on Hallmark.
Welcome back to yet another edition of the Stocking Stuffers, Year 8. We are here today to tackle Hallmark. As you heard the trailer that I hopefully remembered to put in this episode, you hear the movie we're going to go over. But first, before we dive into Three Wise Men, we have three wise people to talk about the three wise men and the baby. And I'm the least wise of the three, but with me today, two very special guests. I am very excited to welcome over. They are podcasters and wonderful people who do many other things. From the Dark Corner podcast and What the Future Holds, we have Brandi and Dave.
Hello. Hey, hello.
Sirens.
Merry Christmas.
Sound effects. Yay. Brandi and Dave. You are two lovely people who I have long had wonderful internet conversations with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first, I want to know your experience with Cozy Cardigan Christmas movies. Because I know you watch them. Where does that come from? What was the development? Please, yes, go. Tell me everything.
Dave, not as much. It's my mother's fault. It is my mother's fault. She is the one who started this. And it actually started on Thanksgiving in 2019 because it was after everybody had eaten and we were all just kind of
That's when they get you. That's when they get you.
Yeah, and my mom's like, new Christmas movie. And the one that it was The Mistletoe Inn, which looked like it had been filmed in Park City, which is in Utah, which is where we live. And it had a really atypically handsome male lead that I really like, and I've actually seen him in a few other things, and he's one of those people that can be kind of a chameleon and you don't realize, you're like, oh, it's that guy, until you see the name. And it also had one of my favorite redheads ever, which is Alicia Witt.
Oh yes.
And, so I was like, I'm
fixture of the holiday season, to be sure.
Yeah. And I was like, she's come a long way since she played Paul's little sister in Dune, so come on. And I'll watch her in anything. And so we ended up watching that.
Jazz hat Cuisinart or whatever it is at the end.
Yeah, the Cuisinart's Hatterack. Is that what you're trying to say?
Close enough.
Yeah.
I'm always intrigued by her career because she was, I think, like a child prodigy, right? She could play, like, that's her playing the piano in Twin Peaks. Like, she was very musical. She was apparently just very gifted. And I think it's really interesting that she kind of, like, I think she lives a very happy life because she makes these movies, like a few a year, really easy, really fast. She does her own music, and like it takes her very quick time to like write a Christmas song and put it out there. And then she just plays with her dog all day. So I think she's doing it right. We could all learn something from her.
She is doing it right. And she did it. She did a Christmas movie, I want to say 2-3 years ago. I don't know. I can't remember. They all kind of run together after
she
a while.
She did one every year. So
yeah. But this was the one.
2 years ago.
This was the one where she owned a record store and they were going to close all the there's always some big corporation trying to tear everything down. And Andrew Walker was the love interest, and in that she actually plays and sings. She does like instrumental and voice lessons on the side as well, and at the very end she does do this, and I'll bet she wrote that freaking song even.
Yeah.
So it's like, and she also looks really glorious in royal blue. So so that, but anyway, that Mistletoe Inn was the first one that we watched, and I'm like, crap.
They got me now. They got me.
Damn it. Because
there's 7 more movies with mistletoe in the title this year. I guess I have to watch them all. Could be a cinematic universe. I don't know.
It was just, well, first of all, I had to sit through commercials because my mom couldn't have used a DVR to save her life. But I thought, there's a better way to do this, and that's on a DVR. And so, after that, I just thought, oh, well, it's fun. There's not enough Christmas movies out there that are outside of Hallmark and Lifetime, really. And they're just the
and
same
Up
thing
and
over
Freeform and Netflix and Tubi.
Yeah, so many. So I just thought, well, maybe I'll watch another one. And then it was just all downhill from there, and I can't stop.
Well, I love that though, because I think that's kind of how they have designed the trap, if you will, right? The whole idea of these movies is that they are very universal, so that no matter what group of people you're with at the holidays, right? You're visiting somebody to decorate, or you're having Thanksgiving dinner, and somebody turns the TV on. Oh, it's sports. Oh no, we're going to fight about the sports team. Oh, it's news. Oh God, no, not the news. Oh, it's a Hallmark Christmas movie. Okay, what is there? There's no conflicts. There's nothing to argue about. And they're, packaged very tightly, and there's nothing risque. And I always feel like that's kind of the way they were done, was initially to pull people like your mother in, and then to pull the other people who are sort of, need a background, something not to think about, but yet it's pretty, it's seasonal, it's all of that. And I think it's obviously become so much bigger than that, because now these are industries upon themselves. But what's good about sort of what I'm seeing, at least this year, is there was sort of a market saturation. And now it's a couple of years into it where you're starting to allow again for people to be creative and to come in with better ideas or new ideas and some different spins on things. And that's very much the movie today, which is a Hallmark. It's the first Hallmark I've watched this year. And when at first glance, when I saw the poster for it, and when you guys had picked, you said, have you seen this one yet? I'm like, no, I wasn't going to watch it because it just seemed like another Hallmark, and I've kind of stayed away from Hallmark because they haven't been that fun lately. And then you watch this, and like 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh my God, this is different. And it's a rule breaker, and it's really enjoyable, and it's Hallmark. So there's so much going on there. So why did you guys pick this one? Did you pick it before you'd watched it, or had you already seen it?
Well, I had already seen it, but Dave had not. We did watch it together. And I think Dave was kind of feeling like, I hope I can get through this. And you ended up enjoying it, didn't you, honey?
Yes. It's good that you have 3 guys to follow.
Yeah.
And there's 3 love interests, depending on how you look at it. And so there's
a lot of questions I have about the love interests.
Yeah.
There's like 5 characters you can kind of follow through. So you're bound to find one that you like and can identify with. So I think that helps. So it does kind of wrong foot you at first, because Luke, who's the firefighter, talking in the mirror shirtless, was very American Psycho.
So American Psycho.
And again, I'm always open to taking that route, but Hallmark less so. So why don't we give a quick kind of overall synopsis of this movie? Does anybody want to dive in, or do you want me to do it?
I'll take care of it.
Brandi, go for it.
Brandi.
So 3 estranged brothers who don't really get along anymore somehow end up having to take care of an infant who has been left at the firehouse by his mother, promising that she'll be back before Christmas. And much like 3 Men and a Baby.
Wait, what? There's another movie like this?
With stunt casting of Margaret Cullen as the boy's mother.
Yes.
So great. They learn about themselves and start to finally deal with their trauma of their father leaving them at Christmas so many years ago, and learn to understand each other and where each other's coming from, and maybe fall in love along the way. Who knows?
Unclear very much. I actually went back and because I watched it yesterday, but then I didn't delete it because I'm like, I might need to go back and check something. And I did, because I'm like, I'm confused by one of the relationships at the end and if it's romantic or not. Right. And actually, no, that's not true. I'm confused by 2 of them. Because I was convinced. Okay, so there's 3 brothers. So there is okay, so it's Andrew Walker is Luke, and yes, he's the American Psycho firefighter. Who is the most, but it ultimately is like kind of, I guess, the leading man. So I haven't seen him in these, but I'm guessing he usually plays the poor widowed dad in a few of these, right?
Not necessarily. He's often playing the son of some tycoon who's going to tear something down.
Okay, poor little rich boy.
He does poor little rich boy a lot.
Yeah. Because he's very, he's the exact type of man, I often say, incredibly handsome, totally not my type. Just very sculpted, very good-looking, bland white man. Looks like a Ken doll, kind of, in a lot of ways.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. And so he's the, I guess, the oldest brother, and he's the responsible one. So he has some big moments of kind of saying like how hard his life was because of how much of a burden he had on him. And in the end, spoiler alert, so the mother of the baby was just like a woman who he was there with her when she gave birth, right?
Right.
And she was very like impressed. She kept thinking of like how much he cared and how what a great man he was to be there at that time. And so, but she knows nothing else about him, but yet she leaves her baby with him for a week. But at the end, I'm like, oh, are they together or not? And because it ends with him like going to see her and just kind of saying like, hey, I thought maybe you need me, maybe you need somebody, and I'm just here, so I just want to say like I'm here to help if you need me. She's like, great, come on in. And then we get the 1 year later title card where they're both there, and I could not tell at all, but I had to rewind it. There is a split second where they kiss each other on the lips, right? Catch it? So I guess that's his romance at the end. Then there's who I assumed was the middle brother, Stefan, who I'm directed by Paul Campbell, who's also one of the writers of this movie. And I'm sorry, he wasn't gay.
No,
I totally just assumed. I was so off on that.
Socially awkward pet psychologist.
Yeah, he's
very slim, very, you know.
I identified with him a lot with just not wanting to talk to people and just like trying and, you know, like being at the dog park and then seeing this guy coming, he knows is going to talk to him and having like a panic attack. Been there.
Yeah. He's lifting up his coat to hide behind it.
Yeah. And just, no, he was just, I think that he was just such an introvert that nobody ever really knew that much about him. I mean, even his own brothers didn't know that much about him.
I really was waiting for the punchline because he has a love interest who's very cute. And I actually really liked that whole thing. The character's name is Susie, Fiona Vroom, which is a kick-ass name for an actor.
Right?
Fiona Vroom. Like that sounds like she should be doing lotto letters.
Sounds like a getaway driver from some kind of pulp novel.
Totally, like Death Race 5 starring Fiona Vroom.
Yep.
So she's like this also nervous, which I was also confused by the what do you call it? The not politics, but the ethics of that. Because he's a pet therapist and she's a client, but I guess not a client because her dog is technically the client. Because she's into him. And I thought the joke was going to be him eventually saying like, oh, by the way, like I'm gay. Like I thought that was where that was going. It was not going there at all. But also like as much as their relationship's really cute because she immediately gets it. She's like, oh, like I understand. Like, and like just without him asking, she just helps him. Like she's just like, I'll go talk to this guy. Like you go, I got this, which is a really cute thing. And I loved his arc of how, you know, they have this big moment where he does step up and say things and then he thought he was cured. And oh my God, a Hallmark movie that addresses like mental illness to say, oh no, it doesn't cure it. Like you don't have one good Christmas and then suddenly all of your problems are gone. Like, no, you're dealing with this. This is part of you, which was amazing. But I'm also like, wait, but can he date his pet's owner? Is that a violation of ethics?
Well, no.
I am of the opinion that her pet does not have a problem at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she's throwing herself at him.
She's just trying to get in his pants.
The Yorkie is a means to an end, definitely. Yeah, I guess. It's still it's fuzzy logic. I'll accept it. But it does make me wonder, like, I don't know, maybe I kind of want, like, if we have any pet therapists out there, if you're listening, tell us, are you allowed to date the pet's owner or is that a violation of doctor-patient ethics? I don't know. I just like to know that, but it's very cute. And then our third brother, who I took to be the youngest. So that was the order. They don't say it outright, but that you agree, right?
Yes, I agree.
All right. So it is Mark was his name. Why did I think it was something else? No, it's not.
Taylor, right.
Taylor.
Not to be confused with Tyler, who's the actor.
Noted. Yeah, it's that I had my IMDb wrong, and they actually have information on half of the movies I watched this year. I couldn't get any information on IMDb, but yeah. So Taylor is the coder. He's moody. He has like hipster messy hair, but this is Tyler Haynes playing Taylor, and I feel like that was a joke in itself. Right, like when they cast, they're like, oh, your name is Tyler. Then you're going to be named Taylor, just to make it annoying for everybody probably on set.
And he's bringing a lot of like Kevin Smith energy to this role, I think.
He is, and that could have gone so wrong. But man, this guy's really funny.
Yeah,
like he gets it. It's tough when you were doing these Hallmark movies because they are wrapped in candy, like, and they are meant to be really cheery. So usually, even if somebody's a villain, like, they're a fuzzy villain. And it's tough to play a cynical character in these movies because you're cynical, but it's rated G. You can't be that cynical. But I thought he was actually really funny, and I'm sure I've seen him in other Hallmark movies. I must have. I'm sure I've seen him in anything else that's Canadian, because it felt like that. But I did not offhand recognize him. He was in Immortals, apparently. I was a slave in Immortals, of course. Now I remember.
He was actually in an episode of Star Trek Discovery in season 2.
Okay.
He had a small part in that. And the first time that I saw him, I didn't realize. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Tyler Hynes. What the hell? Somebody got Hallmark in my Star Trek Discovery, which wasn't actually the first time that had happened, because there was a background actor in season 1 who was one of the Hallmark hotties. And
it's also probably the Vancouver thing, right?
Oh,
they probably
yeah.
a lot of them filmed in
Star
Vancouver.
Trek films.
Actually, no, it's in Ontario. Toronto. And the thing is that they get tax breaks by employing Canadians, and there are a lot of great Canadian actors, and Tyler is frankly one of my favorite Hallmark guys ever, because he always brings it, always. And I've never seen him play someone who is such a wrecking ball, but it was fun to watch.
It was fun, yeah. And so we should say this
left and right.
Yeah.
Oh, completely. Like, but in a funny way. And to find ways to make like coding funny in a Hallmark movie that's not easy. That's not easy at all. This is directed by Terry Ingram, who's made a whole lot of these, probably some of the ones you've seen. And I guess The Mistletoe Secret is one that I haven't seen, but I've heard people talk about as if like, no, that's actually a good movie. Maybe, or am I thinking of The Mistletoe Promise? I might be thinking of there's a lot of mistletoe movies, as we already said.
Well, tell me the plot of The Mistletoe Promise, and I can tell you. Well, so I know the plot of The Mistletoe Promise. I watched that recently.
Up the two of them. Yeah, Mistletoe Promise is one of those. You're gonna fake being or we're gonna get married if we can't find each other. It's like my best friend's wedding thing.
No, it was more of a, you have to pretend to be my girlfriend because I can't make partner unless I'm a family guy.
Right. So similar to My Christmas Fiance, which was you have to pretend to be my fiance so I can keep it. Yeah, of course. Again, there's 7 plots in these movies and they get recycled. Except for this one, which is a direct plot from another movie, but not another Christmas movie. And so this is written, so it's a dual project script. So written by Paul Campbell, who we mentioned is Stefan, and Kimberly Sustad, who is an actor who has been in many of these.
With Paul Campbell.
Campbell, yes.
So many movies with Paul Campbell.
And what's funny about her, so she, I know her from the kitten, the Brandon Routh kitten one, right? It was what was it? The 9 Kittens of Christmas was the one that they did last year.
That was the sequel, yeah.
The sequel to, what was it?
Nine
the 9
Lives
Lives of Christmas probably. And that one that I did last year, like I actually liked. And she's one of those actors who, she's Canadian, so like how she ended up in these. But again, she's interesting because she doesn't quite look like Alicia Witt. Like she has a little bit more of like a girl next door, like real woman look to her, and she has a good presence in these movies where she feels like a person. And she has a cameo in this movie. She plays a doctor at one point. But it's funny to me that you have 2 actors who have been in these movies, so they know the beats really well and they understand exactly like some of the things they have to do in them. And there's a bunch of really random things that happen in this one that I'm like, she pulled a lot from the fact that she was in 2 Christmas movies about a firehouse.
Yes.
Right.
And even sour cream, that will come up quite a bit too.
Yeah. Oh, product placement. Yep.
Oh yeah. So why don't we dive in to the list?
All right.
All right. So we'll start with the Big 10 tropes, and right away, again, like it is a Hallmark cozy cardigan Christmas movie, but it is completely playing with the formula. So normally we have a female in need of a lesson. I mean, I guess kind of the woman who abandoned her baby with a fairly stranger. Like, I mean, I would think she should have learned a lesson, but this movie is very forgiving to her. So instead, we have our 3 guys who all do need to kind of change a little bit or embrace things about themselves and understand things about themselves. I don't know. That was a neat twist to me. How about you
Mhm.
guys?
Yeah, no, honestly, from the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie, I thought, oh, this is just not following the pattern. And
Exactly.
well done, Kim and Paul, because they know the pattern and they're now breaking it in the most fun ways. And I just love it. I love that it's not what you expect. So and if there were ever going to be two people to write a Christmas movie who are actors, I would have picked them to start with, because they're so good together, and they obviously write well together.
Yeah, no, I mean, both like the overall story and the dialogue itself. It is rare that I laugh out loud in any of these movies, and I did. I laugh. Like, my husband walked in, he's like, "Are you watching?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's good. This is genuine. This is coming from here. It's real."
Yep. It really is funny. And it's interesting how having their father leave them at Christmas really caused a lot of these issues in their behavior, like Luke being this try-hard who had to fill in his father's role, and so he didn't really have a life for himself. He's building this house that's never going to get finished because it's always on the back burner. He's dealing with other things like charities and taking care of the home and all that stuff. And then of course we have Stefan, who's hides from every problem.
Yep.
And then Taylor, who's self-sabotage. Anytime he gets close to something, anytime there's a commitment issue, he blows it up.
And it makes a lot of sense for family dynamics. I mean, I'm one of four. So like, not that like, oh, there's a direct imprint on each of us to the characters here, but it is very true in bigger families that one child almost always becomes the one who, whether they have to or not, they feel like they're the ones responsible for everything. And they internalize a lot of that, and they get bitter about it, even though if they had asked for help, maybe they could have gotten it. Like, and then there's the one who, and for a long time it was me because I'm the youngest, who like is kind of just like, whatever, I'm cool. I don't have to help with anything. And then eventually grows up and realizes like, oh no, I need to pitch in too. It's like it actually is character driven in ways that aren't just like, he's a programmer, so he's a jerk. He's a fireman, so he's great. Like, no, like there's nuance in this very limited screen time in many ways. So number 2 is our setting, which Big Bad City, charming small town, magical winter wonderland, charming small town of sorts, right?
Agree.
Yeah, it was a very, very small firehouse, so definitely one of those tiny little suburbs.
Yeah, and it feels like a volunteer kind of thing almost.
God, I hope not, because he had to pay for that house.
Yes.
Very nice. Well, and a town that is small enough for pretty much everybody to know each other, but also big enough that it has like a major game developing industry to it,
called Funnin' Games.
Funnin' Games.
Funnin' Games.
Funnen. Was that it?
Yeah.
I like
such a small town that you're still living next to your neighborhood bully.
Yes. and but going to work in a skyscraper. Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
Magic. So number 3 is our bland love interest. And so we hinted at it, but let's break them down. So we have Fiona Vroom, who I'm only going to refer to her as her real name because it's way better than her character name. And I mean, she's cute. She's a redhead. She's very like your little like Christmassy, perfect, but she's great. Like, she actually has conversations that I liked. And then Taylor has a love interest. Let us talk about her. This was what's that character's name?
The character's name is Fiona. Not
the character's
to be confused.
name is Fiona. Why? Oh, come on.
We got 2 Fionas.
Come on. Nobody does that. Like, that's not that common a name that you're gonna do that. They were fucking with them, weren't they?
Yeah, they really were.
I think so, because Taylor Tyler, there's a lot of
Taylor Tyler,
things.
Fiona the character, Allie the actress, Fiona the actress, Susie the character. Like, somebody was just doing that to be like, let's just make it a little harder for them. So this way, when the poor PA is like, Fiona, 2 women run over and are like, me? Ridiculous. That is ridiculous. But so Allie Liebert, I guess, is playing Fiona.
Right.
And I do feel like she didn't, like, I think in a way, like, she kind of doesn't quite get the same thing that everybody else gets in this movie.
I don't think so. She feels like Gruffalo a little bit. Janine Garofalo. She's got that kind of energy.
Yep.
She's Taylor's ex. They worked together and they were close together. And of course, he ruined that too by being so impossible. But she's still there for him when
and like
he asks for help.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Especially because when they first talk, like it sounds like they really didn't date long, right? Like there's a moment where they say like, "Oh yeah, this lasted longer than our relationship." And maybe I didn't write it down specifically, but it felt like that was like a 2-month window or something where it's like, wait, this guy, so it's been a year, you dated him for just a few weeks, and yet you've like put your career on hold kind of just to help him decorate his Christmas house. Yeah, I feel like she's a little short shifted and it's just not as kind of well-rounded a character as some of the others, but it's fine. It seems like she'd be a good match. Like the problem, I feel like she is going to help Taylor be better, but I don't think Taylor has much. I don't think she is going to get much out of being with Taylor. That's just my concern.
It's hard to say because Taylor does figure out that, he is basically a wrecking ball, and he decides that he doesn't want to be that anymore. So he does make a choice. And I've seen that actor in some other Christmas movies, and I liked her. And so I thought, she's really being underused here.
Yeah.
She's in it quite a lot for how little is on offer from her. It's like bumping into that shopping center or, her at the, this coding office. Or
she bumping into her into the plot a few times, I think. And that might be part of it.
She pops up a lot, but doesn't make much, doesn't really move the story along very much.
Yeah. And I think it stands out. Just normally that's true of like every love interest in these movies. Yeah. But I think because everybody else is written really well and dynamic, I think that's why maybe she stands out a little bit, because she just feels like she's in a regular Christmas movie, whereas everybody else is in something a little more elevated.
Right.
Yeah. Number 4 is a montage. And I think I only really counted one big one. There might have been like little intersperts of things with the baby, but again, it feels like for a Hallmark movie, and this came up on another movie I did this year, where I realized like, oh right, if you're a good movie and you have a lot to do and say, you don't always have time for a montage, because a montage is usually there because you don't have enough to say with your running time, so you have to pad it out. The only one I really noted was when they decided to do the elf Christmas shoot, which is very cute.
Yes, it's so cute.
That when they were kids,
candy cane,
the candy
like a cigarette.
Yep. They want to recreate a picture for their mother, and they dress like elves and get a picture with Santa. And there's like some cute like split screen and like some kind of cute editing there to make it a thing. And then I guess the ending, you get a kind of everybody is happy montage, but you didn't have the just like, oh, we have to decorate, quick, play deck the halls and cut to 5 different things of us decorating. We're done.
And there's so many opportunities. Like the whole thing that their mother wants them to do is to decorate this tree. Put up and decorate the tree, even though the rest of the house is completely decorated and ready for Christmas. It's the tree's the last thing to get done. But that could have been a moment. There's the time that baking cookies could have been a moment for a montage. There's anytime they were caring for the baby could have been a montage, but
instead they went for a lot of times the comedic cut, right? Instead of like the guy trying to bake cookies and getting flour everywhere, it was more like, I'm going to bake cookies, and then cut to a smoke alarm going off type thing. So it's just a different tactic. I'm okay with it. But
I appreciate seeing that. Oh yes, we are going to make cookies. I've never done this before with a baby, and then later just looked like he's been through so much trauma.
Yep.
And he's got post-traumatic stress disorder at this point, just covered in flour.
And that is funny too, just because then the brother shows up and the way he talks about it as if he was there for the storming of Normandy. Like it's funny. It is genuinely something that if you like sat down to watch with your aunt at the holidays, like you both would chuckle, not because one of you is watching it ironically and one of you is watching it seriously, but because it's just well delivered jokes, and it's good and weird to say. Now, number 5, so we have dead parents or dead wife. And
deadbeat.
It does kind of a
father.
twist on it.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Deadbeat dad.
Deadbeat dad. Good,
Yep.
good. Which is different because usually we don't want like sadness in these movies. We don't want to think about how bad, like people being irresponsible, and like also like it's not like the dad comes back at the end or anything.
Nope.
But we do still get a dead dad. We get a deadbeat dad. There's another dead dad. Did you guys catch him?
No. Oh, the chief of the firehouse.
Chief, right.
Yes. And I didn't look it up, but I wonder because there's like a picture of this man with it with his name saying like Chief Mike the best. And clearly he's dead. And I meant to check to see like, oh, was he like the fire chief in the last movie about a firehouse? Or is that actually an actor who passed away that they were honoring? Because it's a weird thing in this movie.
Weird, like there's these quantum universes of Christmas movies and they overlapped in that instance.
Yeah.
Like we just happened to get this kid's Christmas movie story mixed in with this one.
Like ships passing in the night.
Yeah, like
because
this sliding doors thing.
Yeah, in the middle of the movie, there's like a kid standing at the firehouse, and Luke is like, "Oh, hey, you need help?" He's like, "Oh, no, like, yeah, I came here to talk to the other fireman who's my surrogate father figure, but you'll do. Let me tell you my story." And it's like this like random, and it's fine because it's a nice little scene where Luke like kind of shows us, I guess, that he really does do this. Like it's one thing for a character to say, I take care of people, but we actually see him in the moment, like see a kid in need and kind of talk to him and then help him out. But also like it does feel like that was taken out of, okay, and then to see the continuation of this story, stay tuned for the next Hallmark thing.
Yeah.
It was a choice, definitely.
If that kid shows up in a later movie, I will let you know.
Please do. Please do. I won't get to all of them, so definitely. Now, number 6. Oh, yeah.
It's like the extra piece you get in buying certain action figures where you can create a whole other action figure. It's like collect all these Christmas movies.
This is your
you
key to linking everyone.
Extra one.
What if that boy is part of a Christmas movie scavenger hunt? Oh my word.
Yes. I mean, they do like Hallmark conventions now. And I bet like that kid's going to be the surprise like MC of the whole thing. So I don't know. Look out for him.
I love it.
All right. So moving on. The next one is our sassy sidekick.
Boy, we had a firehouse full of them.
Just like a little Greek chorus.
Yeah.
Just there to occasionally say things. Yep. And I guess the one thing I'll say too, I feel like there's the aunt, and I was waiting for her to do something interesting, and she also just she just has a concussion.
Yep.
Like not even concussion. Like I don't know. Give me a good concussion joke. I'll take it.
She got a bump on the head. I think. They said she did have a concussion, but it didn't seem very serious at all.
No.
Well, just a reason to keep the mom out of the story for a little longer.
Completely. Yeah.
Concussions are always serious. Always. Because it may seem like nothing and you might feel fine. And then the next minute you're dead. So yeah, you have to watch someone very closely when they've had a concussion, regardless of how serious you might think it is. It is very serious.
Yeah. She could have been wearing dangly earrings when she had it. That's all I'm saying.
Or snap when she talked something.
Totally. Or like a Christmas pin, big, prominent, fuzzy Christmas pin. But it's okay.
Yeah.
I can't have everything. Number 7 is our evil woman, or basically the villain, which is usually an evil woman or a boss who cares about the bottom line. So this one does a few things with that. Who did you kind of think that there was anybody filling that role?
They had their neighborhood bully, and that was about it.
Yes.
But I really liked how efficient and effective he was. He'd come in, do his one bully thing, and then it was like, "Is that it?" And he says, "Yep, that's what I came here to say." And then gone.
Yeah. And like again, it was like writing like just dialogue that doesn't belong in a Hallmark movie because it's too good for a Hallmark movie.
It's a really good comedy.
Yeah, like it was just like short, quick, witty, and they moved on, and it was very funny. We have a boss character who does fire one of our heroes, but like the boss fires him because the boss is nice and doesn't like that this guy isn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he's like, you're toxic in the workplace, and like, hey, we're all having fun at Christmas, and you're being a jerk, so you're fired. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was nice to see someone get fired who actually deserved to be fired.
Yeah.
Right, and not because the quality of his work, but because of his attitude. Like, yeah, some offices should do that.
Yep.
All right. So 8 is our slapstick, which, I mean, we have a baby. We have men not equipped to handle a baby. So therefore, we have some slapstick. What were some of your favorites?
The baking cookies thing was pretty funny. The struggling to purchase stuff at the shopping center was pretty funny too. Even leaving the wallet behind and having to trade the watch for it.
And now he's banned from another store.
Yes, yes.
And of course, there was social awkward thing, bumping into this guy who comes from this pet adoption agency and hiding from him in plain sight.
Yep. We had some corgi humor, which I'm all for corgi humor.
Oh, yes.
That corgi, oh my word, just flat on the ground with his little back legs just straight out behind him.
I love a corgi. Like any sploot's good, but a corgi sploot is especially good because their legs are so little drumsticks.
He's just so cute.
Yeah.
It was like one of my favorite characters. We only see him the one time.
Yeah, underused corgi, definitely.
Yep.
I did like the one, it's just like in the background, the one scene, because there's a little bit of like snowman things going throughout the movie.
The kids,
the kids just busting up a snowman display just made me laugh. Because again, you don't get like destruction in these movies. So number 9 is our sage old person. So again, up for interpretation, but where do we land here? What do we think we find?
Well, the only really wise person say, and I don't even want to use the term old because it's just I don't like categorizing people by their apparent age, but the mom is the sage person who is just trying to have one more Christmas like they used to have before they all became so distant with each other, and not distant as in far from each other physically, like they're all still in the same town.
They're all living in the same house, basically.
And there are good comic moments of that too, when they're talking on the phone when he's in the basement. You just have to open the door and shout down the stairs, but they're on the phone talking about, are you going to be for dinner tonight?
Yeah. Well, and it is the mom who really says, like, we can, like, this woman needs help. I've been there. We can help. You guys are able to do this. I'm able to do this. Like, let's do this. Like, and that's a nice sentiment, I think. Again, like, one could argue that, like, no, they probably should have gone to the cops, but maybe not. It worked out. But like, there's like this thread of, I guess, like actual kindness in this movie that I really appreciated, that usually is very surfacey and not sustainable. Whereas in this, like, no, it feels like this is a character's like way of thinking, and the way she says it is connecting to the people around her. So I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Luke kind of gets to play that part a little bit with dead fire chief's son. So you know. And then Santa Claus. So I mean, there's a Santa and a mall, but no actual.
A Christmas market, please.
A Christmas market. Thank you. You're right. You're right.
Outdoor Christmas market. A very beautiful, but it's a sunny day, and who needs gloves? And it's great. Yeah.
Love that kind of market.
It's 80 degrees out there.
All right. So the bonus round, all the fun little things. So let's talk about the music and the public domain use of everything. I mean, there's most of the standbys do show up. Any of your favorites or any favorite musical moments?
Well, of course, it has to be the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, because the boys have their own interpretation of said dance.
Of the Nutcracker.
There are times where I've just found that public domain usage so overbearing. And this time it was a way more subtle. It was not in your face or in your ears all the time.
And I think too, they made jokes about it. Like, the two really obvious ones. One is the Nutcracker, because and every one of these does the March of Sugar Nutcracker, but especially Sugar Plum Fairies. But they have their own dance, and like that to me too is kind of like one more thing of like, oh right, because even like the ballet being kind of a public domain thing. And also there's at one point, I think when one of them comes in, I think it's Stefan, has like calmed the baby down, and he's playing this like very digital version of, was it Jingle Bells or Deck the Halls? and it's just Deck the Halls playing over and over again on a phone. And the character comments on it. He's like, it's the only thing that's making the baby not cry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even that kind of a call out of like, oh, right. I mean, and we didn't have to pay for it. So that helps too.
Yep.
Let's see. Secret family recipe. Surprisingly, considering all the baking we get, there's no like, well, your mother made these cookies.
Right.
Yep.
Unfortunate.
Yep.
Small business in danger.
They've got the game that they're kind of behind the production
Mhm.
schedule for, but
Mhm.
it's not like that big of a deal, especially when you're behind and still going to take time out of your day to help your friend.
Well,
Your
and
ex.
it's a weird like there. I don't know. I don't really do video games, so I don't know release dates. But I would assume you don't release them in January. You try to release them in December. Am I wrong about that?
Depends
Aren't
on
they
the
like
game.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
it depends
seems
on
like
the
January
game.
is a very bad time for that.
Yeah, you would think
Because
so. Unless
games-
it's everybody who got gift cards and
Yeah.
they can spend their
Maybe
gift cards in
that's-
January.
Yeah, it could be the way things go now.
Because games are released just all the time. They
Yeah.
they don't
Right.
have like a let's hold this until then. Usually it's like, okay, we're doing this game. Here's the release date. Oh, guess
Okay.
what? We're gonna have to push that into the future. So here's the new release date. Oh, wait, actually, we're still this has got to be much like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh my God. That date got pushed so many times over the course of 5 years that I didn't believe I was ever going to actually see it. And I did finally, except it's only part 1, because when they started getting down to the nitty gritty and they're like, we can't just half-ass this, you guys, we've got to do this right. And what they've done with it is actually really impressive and interesting and kind of turns everything on its head in a way
Did they have a little Photoshop snowman in the
Oh.
landscape?
No.
Because I think
No,
that would
they
have
did
really put it
not.
over. Yeah.
They did not. And I don't recall any snowmen
obviously
in the
should've.
actual game.
Yeah.
So
And then there's the
Yeah.
opposite when they rushed the game, like with Cyberpunk 2077, which is notoriously buggy because they tried to meet this ridiculous launch date when they were creating their own game engine.
Mm.
And so, they were building it out of scrap, basically. And so, yeah, they rushed that to make the.
Well, for all
the
you
date.
know, it wasn't that they were rushing. It was that half of the coders were really busy
Oh, yeah.
creating elaborate Christmas decorations for local
Yeah.
news contests.
Could
That could have
be.
really been the problem.
Could
Who knows?
well, even Fiona did say, she just rewrote the software for her mom's light show. I mean, she could do something similar.
Yeah,
It won't
it
take
didn't
very
seem like
long.
it should have been that hard. Because
No.
she was kind of like volunteering it. And then suddenly it's, oh, well, the team is behind because, we fired you and I've been spending all of my free time developing like the lighting system for your house. And it wasn't that done. Like, not to put Saul and Fiona, the character, as opposed to Fiona Vroom, the actress. But the finale light display, and I think that was kind of the joke, was that it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But I felt like the light display was going to be good.
Yeah,
it really
and
was just
the
like
fuse
lights.
went out anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Fiona, don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
Or
Circuit breaker.
don't get fired from your day job.
To be fair, she was the one who said, are you sure the grid can handle this?
She did. You're right. Yes. But we never, like,
So-
even when we saw it with the grid up, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was all for the medieval Christmas. I was hoping they would do that.
Same.
Like, yes,
Same.
pull up every decoration you have, go buy that. Oh, look, we have a whole lot of inflatable dinosaurs. Well, then make a dinosaur display. Like, I was totally into it, and they missed their mark.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they half-assed this. I mean, they were doing this
True.
on the day.
Yes.
They
And that was
did
part of
not-
the joke, too.
They
Fair,
did
fair.
not have a chance in hell of winning. And I'm so glad that they didn't, because
Same.
it wouldn't have been funny.
No.
otherwise.
So now the next one is our product placement. And that's one of the things I like about the Hallmark ones is that we do get product placement. So what did you want to buy after this movie was over?
Oh, I really needed a tub of Daisy sour cream.
Oh my
like you would not
God.
believe.
Singing my
Ugh.
song, sister.
Oh,
Yep.
it's so good. I mean, sour cream, you wouldn't believe how much we use sour cream in our cooking now, because we get HelloFresh and we have learned so much about cooking. And man, if you want to get
Cheese and more.
panko breadcrumbs to stick to a chicken breast, you better damn well use some sour cream.
Do you
up
use
in
that
there.
instead of egg, or do you use
Yeah.
you do egg also?
No, no, no.
No.
The
Okay, so
sour
you do
cream.
the
sour cream.
flour, then the sour cream, then the breadcrumb?
Actually, no, it's just the sour cream goes straight on the chicken breast,
No
which has
flour?
been seasoned with salt and pepper. And then you put the panko breadcrumbs on top and you stick that baby in the oven and oh, it's so good.
A
Try that.
mix of panko, usually cheese, salt, pepper,
Mhm.
and some olive oil, and you stick that on a spread of sour cream
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that
roast
sounds
that
really
chicken.
good.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
delicious.
Okay, I'm into it. I might even do it in the air fryer. I'm there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I
Mhm.
definitely recommend it.
Yep. And Daisy Sour Cream has been sponsored. They were also a sponsor on the 9 Kittens of Christmas last year, which
Yep.
had an entire sequence where Kimberly Susted's character makes her mother sour cream pie or sour cream cake, I guess. And it's like, oh, I love Mother's Daisy sour cream cake. And in this one, it isn't quite as there, but it's like just every time there's food in frame, there's a big old tub of good old daisies. So
Yeah. Well,
I appreciate it.
yeah, the first time we see it, I think, is when Taylor comes in the kitchen and opens the fridge to get out the orange juice. And he just opens it up like he's looking there, like, what am I looking for? I opened this for a reason. Why? Oh, yeah, I needed orange juice.
But also to remind myself that when in doubt, this family is a Daisy's family.
Yeah.
Right.
And why would you buy any other sour cream?
Oh, if it's on sale. Or my
That's true.
supermarket is bad about sour cream. I'm usually trying to get like the low fat kind just because otherwise I can use so much of it. And a lot of times it's like only one brand that they're carrying that has low fat, or only one brand that of any sour cream that hasn't expired last week. So, so sometimes you do have to go around the Daisy chain, do Friendship or store brand, but it depends.
The Daisy chain.
The Daisy chain. Now, number 5 is the cloying child. In this case, we have a little baby.
A baby, but
baby.
would you call the baby
So
cloying? He's just
No,
doing what
no.
babies do.
That baby was also adorable. Like,
So cute.
I mean, and you'd think it'd be easy to cast a cute baby in movies, but we've all seen movies where we're like, like it's a little hard. But this baby immediately, like as soon as everybody sees him, they're just like, oh, this baby, because he has that like perfect. Like some babies just like look like they should be a baby on a can, a jar, like a jar can,
Oh,
like
yes.
like that's this baby's face was made to sell Daisy sour cream baby food or something. He's so cute. I mean, maybe he was like somebody in production's kid because like they're able to get him to do a lot when they need him to. And again, like you don't get a lot of babies in these movies because a baby is going to add money and time to your production schedule, right? Like you can't have the baby on set too long and you probably have to film everything in 2 days and hope that you got everything on your first shot because we can't set it up again. The baby might spit on things. The baby might puke on things. Like they really did some good baby wrangling. And this baby, he's watch out for him. He's going to go places.
He is going to go places. I loved the scene where Taylor is talking to him and saying, "Oh, so you're a baby. So like what do babies do?" And so he's trying to figure out ways to, engage with the baby. And the baby's just staring at him the entire time, just like, what is wrong with you, bud? How can you not know?
That's probably what it's like when I talk to my cats, especially as they're kittens. And I'm just like convinced they need to hear me keep talking so that they understand like my voice is really important. But sometimes I'm guaranteeing they're looking at me, understanding far less than that baby understood of Taylor.
Yeah. And I love that part where he's like, I'm going to make this thing disappear. And and he just tosses it behind him and it hits his keyboard and this game comes up and the baby's like, oh, distraction. He's like, you game? You gamer?
Yeah. Like that,
gold.
That scene is again, like it's funny. It's genuinely funny. And that takes an actor who understands because he's doing all the work. I mean, the baby's adorable, but like that's the actor doing the work. You're acting against, a running timer of like, quick, get the shot because we got to move on. It's a baby. And he is very good in that. So I do need to track down a few more things on him. A character with a holiday themed name, I guess we don't particularly get any.
Not
but
really.
I do think, right? I don't even know their last name as a family. What was their last name? Campbell's. No, that's the actor's name. Brenner. Nah, it's okay. I forgive them that. But next year,
no
folks,
Joys or Hollies or anything.
No,
like
but
that.
You know what though? I feel like they've earned a point for all of the character actor naming misnaming. Like I think,
right.
you know, like I'm giving points for Fiona Room and having a character named Fiona Shaw, or not Fiona Shaw, but in my mind I just named her Fiona Shaw. She doesn't have a last name. Now I've decided it's Shaw. You get the point.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, finding the perfect tree.
Mentioned, but not really delivered on, because they were going to have the baby choose it.
And we don't even know which one the baby chooses. You're right.
Yeah,
I know,
we
it's
see
a
the
fir.
tree, but
It's a fir.
it's a very crooked looking tree.
Oh. You
Well,
can
that's just
tell a
because-
fir versus was it fir or pine? And then one of
No.
those is
Pine.
also a spruce.
Spruce?
No, it's see, that's the thing. He
Is a
was
spruce not a pine?
Stefan was talking about it being it wanting a fir tree.
Stefan wanted a
because
fir.
it's the noblest of trees. And then when Susie shows up with the casserole, she says, "Oh, a fir tree." And he says, "Yes." And then they both say the noblest of trees
Right, right.
together. And so, yeah,
So was it
Yeah.
a fir tree, not a spruce? Is a spruce and pine the same thing?
it's all
They were
it's
using
all
them
the same.
interchangeably at one point. I got very confused.
It's
They're
honestly
all
all the
evergreens,
same thing,
but different
yeah.
types. Yeah.
The needles are different.
Okay.
So yeah, the needles are different. That's about, and sometimes the length of the branches are different, how
Yeah.
big they get different, the
Yeah.
coloring can be different. I don't know enough about all evergreens to really
Okay.
be an authority
Well,
on
what good are you?
that. I'm
Well-
sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, when we get
I
Arbor Day
I
movies,
failed
we can
you.
really have this discussion.
How has Hallmark not done a crossover?
Yeah.
Right?
Especially now that they have I did look up this kid. So the kid who plays the kid of the dead fire chief, the actor's name is Nathan Parrott, and he's been in okay, his credits include The Holiday Sitter, Christmas Is You, The Christmas House. So he's been in 3 Christmas movies. So
Mhm.
not as the same young Tyler, young Mike, Declan, and okay, so he doesn't have the same name, but we're still holding on for him to be the tie that brings everything together.
Right.
Number 8 is the ridiculously elaborate holiday cocktails or holiday beverages. None that I spotted.
Nope.
Nope.
No,
They've got the dance, and that's about the
they
closest
do
thing
have
we
that
come
dance.
to it.
As like a ridiculous holiday thing.
Yep.
They do something beverage related that I always have to call out when I see in these movies, which is they follow a rule that is like hard coded in Cozy Cardigan world, which is females drink wine, males drink beer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Anytime you have 2 characters drinking on a date or at the end when it's the party, every single female is holding a glass of wine, every single man is holding a beer.
Uh-huh.
It just always reminds
Gendered
me
beverage.
very gendered beveraging. Yeah. It makes me think of the Muppet Christmas Carol and the idea that like if Miss Piggy and Kermit had kids, the girls are pigs and the boys are frogs.
Right.
Like in my mind, that logic translates over to, and those pigs would drink wine and the frogs would drink beer.
Right.
Yeah, which is weird to me because it's kind of not a great commentary on guys and their taste because beer is horrible.
Oh, well, I love beer. See, I like both.
It is nasty to me. I can drink wine far easier than I could ever.
Of course you
drink
can.
beer.
You're a woman, so according to
But-
Hallmark, you're doing it the way you should.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't. If I'm gonna drink, it's not gonna be wine or beer. It's gonna be hard liquor, you guys.
Or it's going to be one of those very fancy candy cane with mistletoe coming out of the straw type things, which
Ah.
Yeah,
we just haven't
sure.
gotten many of them this year.
Yeah.
We have some empty coffee cup acting.
We do. We had a cheers with them, which was very clumsy.
I love it.
Just some extras doing cheers with coffee
Yes.
cups, and you're like, what are you doing?
And it's
Yeah,
like 5 minutes in, there's a holiday
Yeah.
party and everybody is just flopping them around like there's
Mhm.
nothing in there. I love it.
Yeah, the thing is that happens outside of Hallmark Christmas movies and Hallmark movies in general. I've seen it on drama series, and I'm like, could you just put maybe some
Just
water
wait it,
in
right?
there?
Just put weight in so you know that
Yeah.
you have the natural thing of it. But
I
Yeah,
mean,
they should
just,
have
or
production
just,
like some company that makes weighted glasses
just wait
for
it.
actors.
Yeah.
and how
That's like
or-
no non-spill, like it's just
Mhm.
gel in there or something, but it's the exact weight of a cup that you should have. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Clearly
it's-
actors are not good enough to manage that.
no, which is so ridiculous because in high school, we were learning stuff like that in drama class,
Yeah.
learning how to pick up things to make it seem
Mhm.
like they had weight. And
Mhm.
it's just like,
They
come
have
on,
improv
guys.
class, the three touch rule
Yep.
is to touch it in certain ways to make it seem to have dimension in space
Yep.
and to give objects weight.
How soon we forget.
Yep.
Similarly, Do we have scenes of characters holding food and being around food and supposed to be eating food, but not actually eating food?
I saw people actually eating cookies.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
Taylor
you're
was
not
eating
talking
a lot.
about, but not the scene where it's Luke and the kid
Right.
eating the cookies. Like, that's my favorite.
Yep.
Because it's like, the joke is that obviously the cookies are bad, but Luke, the entire, like, it's both of them put the cookie to their mouth, and then at some point the camera cuts to the other side. But the entire scene, Andrew Walker is committed to selling that cookie eating. So he's just like fake chewing as he's talking the entire time. So I give credit for the attempt. Let's see, any Canadianisms or just tells that it wasn't filmed? Well, I mean, and this kind of goes wrapping into Warm Weather Watch.
Yeah.
Do we know where they were supposed to be? Did they ever really say that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Because it's definitely like it snows, but also like go out to the Christmas market and like just a nice long sleeve tee and a little vest over and you're good, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of glove wearing. The baby wasn't always like didn't have a hat on at the ending.
Yeah. Oh, see, that was a big thing for me. And I said to Dave when we were watching it, I said, if it was actually cold outside, that baby would have a hat on every second he was exposed in that air. And you can always tell because you can't see their breath. When it's cold, you can see their breath when they talk. You can see their breath when they breathe. And so if you can't see that, then it's probably summer.
Yes. But that hits all the beats. So the big question, do you recommend this movie? Who do you recommend it to?
Everyone should watch this movie. It's fun as hell. And yeah, absolutely. I would recommend it. Absolutely. And because Dave said, hey, which movie do you want to do? And I said, no question. It's Three Wise Men and a Baby.
Now, when was the last time either of you saw Three Men and a Baby? Like, how much does it follow? I saw it in the theater whenever that came out. But I don't know how. I was wondering how closely this actually follows some of those beats, but
not a lot. Not a lot.
Just the concept, and that was it.
Yeah, the concept, but the actual taking care of the baby was different. And they weren't quite as hapless as they could have been, like the initial three guys from Three Men and a Baby.
Well, that was before the internet, so
yeah, it was. So yeah, so it was a nod to, and of course with the stunt casting of Margaret Cullen, it was definitely they were like, we know what we're doing here, we understand that, okay, but come with us, this will be fun. And it was. Dave, how'd you feel about it overall?
I really enjoyed this. I think I'd recommend this to everybody as well if you want some cozy little Christmas movie with a bit of heart, and it touches on some emotional stuff, with family trauma and
three grown men crying at one point. Yes.
Crying in the car over having, all this heartbreak over their father leaving and what that left them with. Yeah, it's a touching little story, and it's got some really funny moments. It's well written.
Agreed. Yeah, I think both as a just comedy that it did have me chuckling, which is really rare on these, but also that it has heart, it has something to say, and it is responsible enough as a movie to not say it as if just saying it wraps it all up and now everything's fine. Like it does actively address the fact that I have problems and I still have problems. And they don't go away because I had one good day. And I really appreciate that in a movie like this, because we know they don't have to do it. We know historically they don't. And it takes care to do that. And I am very grateful for it. So,
well, even with that competition at the end, that they still lose.
Yep.
So
poor mom doesn't get her cruise yet again.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That's not what she wanted.
Yeah.
No, she just wanted
it's not
a good
there
Christmas.
to solve problems. It's there to present them.
Yeah. So highly recommended, people. It is on the Hallmark Channel, which means I think it might also be on Peacock and some other places.
Yes.
But this absolutely is one of those ones that is like, I mean, I put this up there with like the few that I genuinely consider good movies, like Holly's Holiday, Naughty or Nice, Truth About Christmas, like 12 Dates of Christmas, like the ones where I'm like, no, like this could be a movie.
See, that's where
Date's great.
you've seen
Yeah.
Tyler Hines in that. He was the male lead
Oh.
in the 12th date of Christmas.
No,
So-
we're thinking of a different 12 Dates
Oh,
movie.
okay.
I'm thinking of the one with Amy Smart and
Oh, right,
Jack
right,
Morris.
right. Yes,
What is that
one
one?
too.
Are they also
Yeah.
just the same exact title, or is his
No,
like
no,
the
they're
dates
slightly
that are
different
12 of
titles.
Christmas? Okay.
Yeah.
No, then I'll check that one out too. But yes, like this is actually one of the movies where you're like, this is a good movie. No, not like as a Hallmark movie. Like it's actually a good movie.
Just a good movie, period. So actually, sometimes it's a good thing when you let the actors write a screenplay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was just going to say, I did make Dave have an extra challenge while we were watching the movie. And I said, there are two things that you have to guess. And one of them is which two of the three brothers are actual fathers in real life?
Ooh,
and
okay, that's a good game.
And which one of the three brothers is a Taurus? Because Dave and I are both Tauruses, and we usually recognize Taurus energy in other people. So do you want to take a crack at it?
I do. I want to play that game. Okay, Luke is definitely a dad. Andrew Walker is a dad. Because he held that baby. Like at one point I was concerned because he was like shopping, just holding the baby. And I'm like, Dad, you can't do that. But he did it like clearly where he wasn't going to drop him. So I'm like, okay, he's a dad. And then I'm going to say Paul Campbell.
Right. You are correct.
Yeah, because Tyler Hines never really holds the baby much. Like he interacts a lot with the baby. But Paul Campbell is often holding him, wearing him, like actively touching him more. Okay. I know nothing about Taurus energy. My mother was a Taurus. I have friends who are Tauruses, but I can't think of anything they have in common. So I'm just going to throw out and guess Paul Campbell.
No.
Okay.
It's Tyler.
Okay. What defines Taurus energy?
Well, it's being very sort of grounded, not like overly like I'm hitting my mic stand. So
not like me.
No, that's not a bad thing. And when I watched this initially, they were doing this whole countdown to Christmas thing with Lacey Chabert, and so they had these interstitial bits where they were talking to the three guys.
Yeah.
And Tyler was definitely being such a Taurus right then. And I'm thinking he's probably a little bit of an introvert too, because, they were, because I think it was Andrew who asked Paul, why did you want to do this movie? And why did you write this? And he said, well, I think Kim and I just really wanted an excuse to work with a baby. And, they're like, oh, you mean and an actual baby too? They were and they're looking at Tyler and he's like, oh yeah, see, they did this for you, man.
Oh, that's cute. I also like that it has like that brotherly thing going too.
Yeah,
that fits kind of who that brother was in the movies. That's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh,
so basically, Tauruses are like just nose to the grindstone, get stuff done and be responsible for it. And he often plays that type of character as well. And it's often a person who's like, I don't have time for this nonsense. And then he finds out, oh, wait, this nonsense is fun. So,
well, it's also, I am guessing, considering Paul Campbell is both the writer and in it, like they were probably writing for most of this cast. They knew who they were putting where and leaned into that. So it also makes you wonder about Andrew Walker's Patrick Bateman energy. So we'll leave that for another year. But
that was an interesting way to introduce the character.
Yeah, and then never go back to that. So it does leave a lot of that hanging. So interesting, the darker side of Three Wise Men and a Baby.
Well, I think that was the fun part of it is he's doing this thing and you're starting to feel really uncomfortable. And then you hear his mom, but you don't know it's his mom yet. They say, honey, breakfast is ready. And he's like, okay, mom. And
great joke. Like this. They knew what they were doing. Like, and there are just those it's the same as like that whole, cutting versus montaging. Like you said so much with that one joke and it went far. So. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for bringing this one to my attention. Mm-hmm. Where can people find you and listen to all the wonderful things you guys do?
Dave, you go first.
Okay, you can find me most places as DJ Evil Dave. Twitter, I making the migration over to Mastodon. And that would be at Dark Corner Cast at ravennation.club. There's a SoundCloud page. There's our podcast that's on Anchor, the Dark Corner podcast, where we've been covering tarot cards one by one.
Cool.
And we have What the Future Holds, which is a Star Trek Discovery podcast that we do with our friend Christopher Littlefield.
Fantastic. All right, Brandi, anything to add?
Yeah, I'm still on Twitter for the time being. So just Brandi112. The Brandi is with an I, not a Y. So, because, my parents had to be different and they all had to name us B names because they were both B names and our last name was a B name. And they just
but
thought,
no Christmas themed name in there.
Christmas themed name.
That's
There's
Well,
Becky,
Brandi.
Brandi, and Brooke. Well, yeah,
Brandi.
Brandi, but
Yeah,
not.
for some people, that's a Christmas drink. Okay. Okay.
So it's not spelled the same. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, just find out what I'm doing there. I have other podcasts, but I am frankly just too mentally exhausted to go into it.
Just
Vedic
imagine.
Assembly, which is a Star Trek Deep Space Nine,
Yeah.
and
Boldly Go, a Star
Boldly
Trek
Go,
Strange
your
New Worlds
Strange
podcast.
New Worlds one. Yeah.
And also, I do a live show with my friend Dan on YouTube called The Unready Room, where we talk about every new episode of Star Trek the week that it happens, except for this week because Dan's work schedule wouldn't allow it. So we're going to do a double episode next week covering Star Trek Prodigy, which is a really great show, you guys. If you're not watching it, what's wrong with you?
Well, that's all nice and all, but I am going to say, it sounds like you've got a lot of free time. Like from what I heard there, it's like you're doing stuff, but it's totally okay. So I'm just going to drop off an infant on your doorstep, run away.
Okay.
I'll be back before
Okay.
Christmas. We'll
Okay.
talk then. It'll all be good. I trust you guys. I think we got this.
Do-do-de-o-do. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do-do-de-o-do. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do-do-do-do. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night. Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Baby, I just can't treat you right. Well, I hate to leave you, baby. I don't mean maybe, because I love you so. Bo-do-de-o-do-de-o-do-de-o-do. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do-do-do-do. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do-do-do-do. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night.